Welcome everybody to the Broken Wing Racing League. This is the Falken Championship Season 2, Round 2, here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, otherwise known as Mexico City. Mexico City, because a lot of people will say the full track name, and why should you? It's a mouthful. Anyway, we are just in the throes of practice and about to get started onto qualifying in 6 minutes and 48 seconds. Our From round 1, we had 11 LMP3s and 25 GT4s, which is a good solid number. That's changed slightly. Looking at the amount of drivers on track, the LMP3 class, the dentist, may be in a safe space in terms of not causing too many incidents. Who knows? It could still happen. There's 6 of them. So far in practice, we've seen it's been challenging to pass in certain sections of the track. The stadium section, in particular. See, Nick Mazza just had to follow Marshall Scar, who just spun right there. And yeah, we had a lot of I think some interesting collisions in the first round. But yeah, this is going to be a GT4 it's just going to be a GT4 race basically. I mean, there's a lot of them. Mark Foley is 8th right now. He's out there on track. And take a good look at this livery as it pushes through. I don't know if this is the new one that he's doing, but it looks good. Is that what the team's supposed to be? A succulent Chinese meal? Very funny. Could be an old one though. I'm running on Trading Paints, and I just refuse at this point to give into IR Sidekick livery. It just doesn't work any of the times I've been using it recently. But yeah, there's Mark. He's an 8th on an improved lap. It's the right one. All right, well, there you go. Okay, Trading Paint's not so bad. So there was 25 GT4s in the first round, which is quite a bit. This round we have 18, so we didn't lose too many. We have 18 GT4s that are going to be out there in this race, which is great news because, like I said, it's going to be a GT4 race. It's a Falken Championship, but there's only 6 LMP3s, so the dentistry magic is not at work on this race. I mean, also, it's a pay track, a fresh track that came out, so maybe people don't want to buy it. I can sort of see that might be the case for some, but like, it's a significant dip from the first race, I would say, for the LMP3s at least. Nick Mazza leads on that first race in P1, with Jacob Simmons in 2nd and Peter Planner in 3rd. Followed by the GT4s of Christopher Chitterling in 1st, Austin J. McGill in 2nd, and Mark Foley in 3rd. Roles are reversed here in the practice session for Austin McGill and Chris Chitterling. And that said, that would put them on a tie if this was to finish like it is in the order, as it is now. Another good start there is Alex Ziers in 3rd in practice, and he is 5th in the championship. Joshua Grasso, who's 4th in the championship, is not here. I should hopefully join the dentist soon. You got 2 minutes and 52 seconds to go if you are ending up joining there, Jeff, but that'll at least make it 7. I haven't seen any late entries. Everyone that's been here has been here for a while. I think one person. So we went from 23 to 24. Only one. That said, there are a couple teams. There's 8 teams There's Valhalla D's Nuts Racing. It's Austin McGill, of course, Holland in that one, and they're leading over JG3 Racing Team. 40 Thieves Racing Team is in third. Little Lugnuts is in fourth. Sakon D's Pickle Balls Racing in fifth. Draft Punk in sixth. Bluth Banana Stand in seventh, and Echelon Sim Support in eighth. Zach Hebert, who's in fifth right now, is eighth in the championship because he doesn't have a teammate. And Chris Chitterling also fourth in the championship, but also doesn't have a teammate. Every other driver or every other team combo has that's 6 teams with both drivers. As soon as in a couple weeks, my rig is in the back of a U-Haul. Oh, you should move. Yeah, that'll be something. We were on Mark Foley for a long time while I was conversing there. Who'd we lose, though? Who'd we lose? We lost Craig Carroll, Bernardo Frogmuller, Adam McNeil, Maxwell Woodmansey, and I think the last one is Gennady Badnick. Oh, and Craig Reese is not here either. Wow, Connor Smith is new, or didn't race one. Zach did. So we have P1 through 5 that were here for round 1. And we have 18 GT4s. And qualifying is about to start for the GT4 class. And it is going to wind down on that switch. A blip has occurred. And quick word from our promo. And we are back. Right now it's 21 degrees Celsius. Just partly cloudy here at the track. Track temperature itself is 36 degrees Celsius. I know, not Fahrenheit. It's unfortunate. Humidity 61%. Winds at 10 kph going north. I don't think that's going to affect too much over here. But we have Tyler Bramble, who definitely is in a new livery. Check out that Yumi Girls. He's exchanged his waifu for another waifu. I don't know what that is. I'm not a man of culture, I guess. But there it is. Did go off track. I mean, we're going to see a lot of people going off track here. But we'll get back to this, that livery shortly. We have Alex Zier in the Mustang. It's the same livery in the GT4 category as well. We'll go on board with him. It's the first driver that'll take us to a hot lap. Expect him to be quick. He was third in practice. Timings in the in practice session were about even for all the drivers, so I would say is less than 2 seconds in total difference to the fastest guy to the slowest guy. So It'd be a good mix of drivers that are going to be in packs in the GT4 grouping. What's here approaches the S's. He's getting pretty brave on the apex there. It almost looked like he might have had an off track, but I don't know if what the off track limits here would even be. Just outside the white lines, but oh, car went kind of wide there behind him. The blue car too. Marshall Scary sets the fastest time right across the board there. Other drivers are starting to file in. Alexander in second, Cody Baldwin in third. Tyler Bramble's a little bit further back. I thought he was actually further ahead. All right, that's William Irby. Brandon Renfro into third. Cody Baldwin down into fifth. Now Mark Foley in sixth. Horst Holland in seven. Chris Chitterling sets the fastest time with Varun Nambier in fourth now. William Irby across the line. That lap did not count for him, so he must have had an off track somewhere. Chris Lambeth also, lap did not count. And yeah, that's true. And with Tyler Bramble, no lap counting there. Elliot Burton goes across the line into ninth. And there's that blue car I was thinking about. That's Tom Smith. Kyle Curtis into ninth is pushing Elliot Burton down with a 152.1. Let's see. Austin McGill hasn't set a lap just yet. He's on an out lap. Angel Benello Soto. No lap for this driver. Or in a Burger King livery. Cool, actually. It looks cool. Have it your way. Nice. In the S's? Yeah, he's approaching the S's. Adam McNeil. Also, no time on the board for this driver. Approaching the S's. I'm just getting everybody at the same spot. Anyone further along? Alright. William Irby. What can he do here? He doesn't have a time on the board. Chris Lambeth goes across the line into seventh, as Chris Chitterling has now just set the second, or another fastest lap for himself. Pacing his last. Whoa, that's Forrest Holland of Cars Racing. Right there, sideways, the penultimate corner. Where does this put William Irby into eighth with that time on the board? Tom Smith in the section. Adam McNeil is actually ahead of him. It's a tight. And Adam McNeil with that time on the board. It is not a valid lap. That's unfortunate. Tom Smith into 13th with his time across the board. Kyle Curtis also into 12th. His time across the board. Pretty interesting unicorn livery there. Austin McGill, still no time on the board. Angel Benello Soto, also no time on the board. And he was on a last... that last lap was supposed to work out for him. That must have been an off track there. No. Okay. Didn't count it as one. Guess we'll see. Varun Nambier hit and went into the pits. Went into second though, so that's an improvement. Alex Zier also improved into third. Marshall Scary now improved into second. Cody Baldwin improves into fifth, pushing Brandon Renfro down one. Austin McGill across the line with 149.2 goes into second with his time, pushing Vroom Nambu now down into fourth. That Porsche Cayman Rexy, pretty good livery. That leaves Angel Manila Soto here with a lap that could be valid. He's got one more shot at it if he does. Put him into 14th, and he's calling it right there. Adam McNeil, the other driver that has not set a time on the board, crosses the line here. Goes into 16th. Elliot Bird improves into 10th with that time on across the board. Tyler Bramble put himself into the pits. Lee Winters hasn't set any time on the board. Interesting to see if Lee joins us. If he doesn't, it'll be 17 GT4s. And we did get one more LMP3 of Craig Reese, so there is that. All right. Technically speaking, Alex Zier, if he wants to, can go one more lap. We might see it too. He's fifth right now. Was that an improvement? Yes, it was. It puts him into second. Marshall Scari. Did he improve? I think so. No, not on that last one. Chris Lambeth improved. Went into fifth. Austin McGill just took first place over Chris Chitterling. Chitterling's still out there. Brandon Renfro has a black flag. Or something. But we should see that can be Mark Foley in 7th, continuing if he wants to. Technically, he can. He crossed the line. Forrest Holland. This is Forrest Holland's last lap, and I think he knows it because he's parked it right there. And so now we'll see the LMP 3s come out. And there's a 3.2 second gap, and Mark Foley was right on the edge of that. And so Nick Massa is going to be the first one to take us racing here or qualifying for the LMP3s. Tom Smith improves into 13th. He's done with qualifying. And there's a 2-second gap. Hopefully it's still going to be a maintained buffer here for Nick Mazza as he approaches. It'll be the last of the GT4s. Kind of interesting how he caught up already. It's got to be slowing down to somewhat. Mark Foley has pulled it off, so pulled it off track. There are still drivers in the GT4 class that are trying to make laps happen here. Marshall Scari goes into the pits. Chris Lambeth goes across the line. Does he improve from 5th? Does not. And then the rest are in the pits. Cody Baldwin also in the pits. Al Curtis across the line. He improved from 14th. I don't believe he did. There he is. Parking it. And we'll go on board. With Nick Mazza. That was... I think that was still safe. It looked like he had gotten a little loose through the S's and collected an off track. People were collecting some off tracks in the GT4s, just not a lot as many. There's not as many as I thought. But it was the ones that, yeah, that weren't able to complete their first couple laps, but then they dialed it in after that. Mark Foley was on his last lap, and he that's when he had that off track, which set him back. Pulling back away here, we have Peter Flanner, who leads now in first over Nick Mazza. Andrew Korstecki in third, Craig Reese in fourth, and now we have Zach Ebert and Connor Smith crossed the line and did not collect the time on the board. Big difference in speed here. Fastest driver in the GT4s with a 148.9, and Peter Flanner in the 140s.5, but I think we'll see a little bit more of an improvement out of them as well. Zach, as it's predicted, will go into the 140s. That works out. Just ahead of him, Nick Mazza in second. Can he improve? Only a 0.154 difference between him and P1. It's definitely possible to find that amount anywhere. Zach Ebbe has improved. Went up to first. No time on the board originally, but he's now got almost 3/10 on Peter Flanner, who didn't have a last lap recorded. He also had an off track. No, he didn't. He didn't have an off track, but he didn't have a registered lap. Sometimes I won't understand how that happens. Mazza still holding third. Korstecki in fourth. Craig Reese put something together. Where's Connor Smith? 40 down, start straight and into turn 2, and he did not have something set. Craig Reese across the line. Does he improve on this one? No improvement because there's no lap recorded. Says he had an off track though. I think we'll believe it this time. And Connor Smith got a bit of ways to go. I believe he's on his approach to the S's. Yep, there he is. As it stands, Zach Ebert was I think you can count that, but it looked almost like an off track. It was an off track. This lap is completely invalid, as Zach has just gone on to set the fastest time, but Peter Flanders snatches it to go into the 139.7, almost 5/10 faster. It's 0.473 difference in the gap. Something else. The dentist has brought it in qualifying, and I think he's going to continue to push because Zach is right there. It's within range. Nick Mazza here, on the last lap, it did not count as a valid lap for him. So whether it also didn't record an off track. So That one's difficult to say. Look at that. That that's all fours. It doesn't count it at the moment, but at that corner through the S's, it seems. Actually, that's right after the S's. That's the next left. After 2 corners from the S's, but I would assume that that's a full on off track. Mazza here. This is a time on the board and it doesn't show up. Alright, well, it said he did a 141 something, but it won't record his last. Same thing with Andrew Korstecki, did not record his last. Typically, when it doesn't record it, it's saying that you don't have a valid lap that can be determined, but it also usually means you've had an off track somewhere. That isn't the case either, because it's not recording those. So, I don't know what to say. There's Craig Reese here. In 5th, Trey Mistak not partaking in qualifying. Not that it would matter much. There's only going to be 7 of them. He's gone into the pits with 32 seconds left. All right. Parking it easy there for Craig Reese. I don't think there's going to be enough time for this driver to get across the line to do one more lap, so this might be it. Actually, this will definitely be it. Beautiful shot from the stadium section as well. And time was stunned. And Zach on the checker qualifying. It's an improvement. Is it the improvement he needs? Yes, it is. He goes to P1 with the 139.5. Peter Flanner across the line with the 139.6. Just a shy of 1/10 separation. Nick Mazza and Andrew Korstecki have laps, but no improvement from either one of them on that. That's unfortunate. Connor Smith across the line. Is this valid? We can hope. It is. It puts him into P5 over Craig Reese. 141.515. Look at that on the leaderboard. Peter Flanner improved significantly on his last lap, and it wasn't enough. 0.098. 0.002 away from being a full 10th. Wow. Impressive run there. These drivers are still out there. These runs don't matter, but I guess it's just practice at this point. But we could be going on to the qualifying session if they stop their cars. Or into the race. We could start the race. But, yeah, all 3 of these drivers still out there. Nick Mazza, Peter Flanner, and Zach Abbott. Because the cars all need to be stopped. And he's going again. This lap doesn't count. None of these counted. Did they have something else on the board that said that they were good to go again? Because it was flatline 0. On the leaderboard, on the timing screen. That last lap changed nothing. Not gonna matter now that we have to go the full minute and some seconds after qualifying officially ended to switch over to the race. Oh, well, here we go. Got the grid. Zach in first, Peter in second, Nick Mazza in third, Andrew in fourth, Connor Smith in fifth, Craig Reese in sixth, Trey Mistak in seventh, Austin McGill in the GT4 class in first, Chris Shearling in second, Alex Zier in third, Mark Scar in fourth, Chris Lambert in fifth, Varun Ambier in sixth, Mark Foley in seven, Brendan Redfro in eight, Cody Baldwin in nine, Forrest Holland in 10, Elliot Burton in 11, William Irby in 12, Tom Smith 13, Kyle Kurz 14, Angel Nella Soto in 15, Adam McNeil 16, Tyler Bramble 17, and I believe if Lee joins us, he'll be in 18. Huh. Lee is here. And Tyler Bramble has his anime waifus. He's got multiple now on the front. Angel waiting for the grid. Great Missec should be in the back of that. Or actually in the next back. I think front runs here. Cooper Troop Racing. Cody Baldwin. Put an extra there for Brandon Renfro's Rexy. Democracy Manifest. Alright. From Mark Foley. Suck on these pickle balls. For that team. The Mustang spelled incorrectly. Or I guess it's probably correct if it's when you see it in the mirror. Maybe. Craig Reese. I don't see Trey Mistek at all. That gonna lead us off. Oh, we do have Trey. He is in the pits with Peter Flanner. What is happening there? Peter Flanner also not joining them. So out of the 7 LMP3s, we've only got 5 starting this race. One of the 2 qualified. The other was in practice the entire time. I just don't know what's going on right now. The GT4 class, there is no shenanigans afoot here. Every single one of them did join, including the driver who I thought wasn't going to join. It was Lee Winters. He was actually P18, but for some reason ahead of Tyler Bramble right now. Just giving him plenty of space here. This is definitely going to be an interesting start because where we're at right now is a full. I don't even know what to say. Well, what the? All right, we lost Austin McGill. Who was in. Chris Chitterling hit the rear of him on the formation lap. Yeah. That's not an ideal start. Austin McGill is in the pits because he got hit by Chris Chitterling. Quick way to shore up the championship for Chris Chitterling, I guess. Yeah, this is just a bigger spread than I was expecting for the way this is going to start. And we're about to go green as we go back live. Zach gets away clean. Peter Flanner's in the pits. Angie Korostecki now into second. Gets 2 positions gained. Nick Mazza still in third. Craig Reese in fourth. And now we have a battle here for these drivers in the GT4 category. They're all lined up, and they will start according as they should with that. And green, 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 it should be for them. All right, so Trey and Peter Flanner are out, and both of them are joining the fray. It's just too big of a stretch. I don't even know who's who. Marshall Scari's on the outside, Chris Lambeth in the middle, and Alex Zier on the inside, and they get that done. So Marshall Scari up 2, and it's kind of a Congo line here, and Chris Lambeth has just been spun. That much is evident. He definitely got hit from the back, and chaos. Full-on chaos grenade at the start of this race down into turn 2 and 3. Angel Bonello Soto up in 4 positions over William Irby. He's on the outside of Tom Smith trying to make up another one, and he's going to have to correct back in, and he is not going to get that spot, but he is still crucially ahead of William Irby. Just ahead of him is Forrest Holland and Brandon Renfro trying to battle it out here. What can they do? There's a spin, and that is Cody Baldwin down the order. And Tom Smith, Angel Bonello Soto battling it out here for position. And it's going well for Angel because he's up 6 spots, now into 9th position. Austin McGill now rejoining the group, who's out from the pits. Now is up into 13th as he makes his way through the field. Trying to make any spot. He gets William Irby, who's on the left there, and improvements gained. Lee Winters and Cody Baldwin sort of not battling because gave him plenty of room, but that's another spot gained for him. This is going to be a full-on recovery race as Kyle Curtis is in the pits. Technically speaking, he's in the pits. You got to wait for... All right, he backs up, and he is back out. Bit of a bump and slide here. That was an informative ad on weaving. Totally. Well, at least you were able to see the stream for a second before you went back to racing there, Austin. Who's up now, only lost 10 positions. So he's up into 11th, and he's got Tom Smith in his sights. It's going to be a massive recovery race for Austin McGill, but he's got the speed, and he was quickest in qualifying. And he's got a full 36 laps to get it done. Oh, oh no. William Irby just smacked him in the rear. Oh no. All the 5 positions he gained are now lost. I don't even know what to say. Chris Chitterling is serving a slowdown penalty or something because he is just off track, and Marshall Scari is now taking the lead of this race. And Alex Zier is now in sight with Brune Nambier in the mix. It is a massive battle here. 6 drivers. Or sorry. No. What was that? Mark Foley. Or 5 drivers. Mistaken the Manifest car with the Burger King car. All pretty close here. In contention for the top spot. Chris Lambeth now is down 8. But crucially, he's looking to take it to 7 down when he passes Tyler Bramble into turn 1, if he can pass Tyler Bramble into turn 1. It's a Porsche versus a Ford Mustang. It should definitely go down Chris here, but it's still going to be braking as well. And it is actually going to go too wide. And Tyler Bramble holding out strong and stays ahead of Chris. Not bad for him. Mark Foley making a spot here. And I'll go back to Chris Lambeth, who did make that move on Tyler Bramble, and it still hasn't stuck. And that is Austin McGill and Adam McNeil. Slight contact from those two. Chris is now fully ahead of Tyler Bramble. The move is done. You're wondering, why am I not looking at the the LMP3s right now? We have Zach Ebert, who's already 4.6 seconds up on Andrew Korostecki, who's in second. Nick Mazza is chasing down Andrew Korostecki, the closest battle in the grouping right now. He's still half a second away from Andrew Korostecki. You catch him a little bit in the braking zone, but not by much. And then Connor Smith, who's in fourth. Bit of a gap, 9.3 seconds to P5, Craig Reese, and Peter Flanner and Trey Mistek are both 14 seconds back from P5. That's why we go over to Brandon Renfro, who just got passed twice, or once maybe. No, just the once, because he's only down one. Angel Manella Soto is up ahead with 8 positions gained into 7th. Boris Holland got 1 spot on Brandon Renfro. And now the real battle is in the mix, and they 1 through 5 still very close. Varun Nambier is still sticking in the heels there of Mark Foley, and is not quite said and done. All 5 of these drivers are pretty close on pace. The only one that's an oddity there is Varun did have an improved lap, but he did a 151.2, where every other driver up here was doing 150s, 0.3, 0.5. And then Chris Shearling with that 149.8, who's definitely got some speed over Marshall Scary. And then even further back, you got drivers of Austin McGill, Chris Lambeth, leading this little group with Tom Smith, Tyler Bramble. Now, that's going to be quite the recovery. Austin McGill on lap 2 was able to claw back 10 spots, or wherever he started. Where he was down however many it was, but now he's down only 11. On lap 2, he was down 10, which means he's kind of nullified what happened earlier when he got hit from behind. That's 2 times he's been hit behind. 1 on the formation lap and 1 in the race. And Tyler Bramble holding out strong here with 4 positions gained over Cody Baldwin and Tom Smith just behind. Both down spots at the moment. And we'll take a look here at Trey Mistek, who's getting close to the dentist, Peter Flanner. We're on lap 5 right now, and I hope to say that that there's not anything else that's spicy that's going on, because at the moment we're getting some good racing, but a little bit of chaos right there at the start. I know there was shoving. Craig Reese, oof, he just went down. Take a look here. Look at the helicopter cam. It's stadium sections. No so bueno. Oh, and he just spun it and didn't get into the barrier there, so that's good news for him. Boris Holland, Brandon Renfro, and Angel Manella Soto, all pretty close. Just behind them, Chris Lambeth and William Irby. They're battling it out, and wow, look at that. William Irby has let both drivers by sheer, I'm not sure if that was on purpose or an accident. Maybe he wasn't hitting his marks. You did see Austin McGill flash William Irby. Maybe he is just like, I'm sorry I hit you. Here's the spot. Maybe that's why he gave it back so easily. Maybe not, but he did. If that was intentionally gifted back, that's a great set of sportsmanship from William Irby there, because that was indeed quite something. Shittling down into turn one. Looks like he has it done on Marshall Scari. Goes quickest on that last lap, too. That was valid fastest lap. 149.4. Quickest of the GT4s. And Austin McGill. Now he's with the pass to Willie Murphy. Now it's Chris Lambeth and Austin McGill fighting to get back the spots that they lost. Austin is down 5. Craig Reese is parking it. That is it for Craig Reese. And he'll drop down the order. The P7 in class. Got Zach Hebert, who's now lapping the the GT4 traffic, and couldn't be much of an issue for him. And you can see both Chris and Austin, they're pushing and they're catching Brandon Renfro, who's in 9th at the moment. He's down 1, but he could go down 3. The likes of Austin McGill and what? Very using all sorts of the track there. And he's got the move done for now. If Chris can respond. I don't think he's going to do at the moment. Further ahead. Over to the LMP3s, which we haven't really been featuring, and I would love to, but there's no battles happening in this group. The closest one we have is Nick Mazza and Andrew Gorstecki, who were 3/10 difference, but through that section alone, it actually dropped down to almost a full second difference in time. Go over to some EV static views where you can see P1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all there in the GT4s as they make their way through the stadium section. And these views are brought to you by Mark Foley, otherwise known as Fark Moley, who's sitting in P4 at the moment. And he's got some good views. Still hot and contentious. The GT4 category was, we had a spin there. I think that's Adam McNeil. Down into turn 1. And back Bebe, who's approaching P5. Got P5. Now has to get the rest of them. And 1, 2, and 3 are pretty close, so it's going to be more of a tricky scenario there. Alex Zier is now fast approaching. Of course, Holland had a spin. Alex here, thinking about making a move here on Marshall Scari. Not much more you can do here, but looks like Zach Ebba has done it as well as you can in the stadium section to get on by these drivers. That move kind of evaporates there as Cody Baldwin looks to make a move here on William Irby. He's now down only 3. It's kind of a recovery for him. He had a spin as well. All right, let's take a look here. Connor Smith is driving slower. Getting past some traffic there. I think this is the closest Nick has ever been. And he's going to be catching this traffic, which definitely not going to help his chances here. Yeah. Take a look back at oh, well, what I was talking about earlier. Cody Baldwin was trying to make a move here on William Irby, but he wasn't able to capitalize. He did get close. It's ending it in too wide through this section, and it's definitely not enough. Moment stays with William Irby. What I was talking about earlier, Brandon Renfro being swallowed up by these two drivers, and it did happen. Chris Lambeth has gone past Brandon Renfro. Austin McGill not past Angel Nelasoto, and it looks like they almost collided there. And it's a great exit. Oof. Yeah. Over and under scenario for him. And Angel Nelasoto responded by actually getting the upper hand in the next corner, and it worked. They're going to be a drag race down the start straight into turn 1. That's where I think Austin is strongest. This is 7 down for him at the moment. It might be 6 if he can keep it ahead of Angel here. Oof, way ahead. Way too much. Way too much. And he's just lost that spot. Nick Mazza. And just past Andrew Korstecki. Had a massive lockup. That's what does it sometimes. And these drivers, Chris Lambeth and Austin McGill, are on a tear. Both drivers that have suffered incidents on track. For Chris Lambeth, it was in turn 4 when he got hit and spun Angel Nelasoto into the barrier there, and that's going to be a rough one to handle. But Austin McGill will take those ones. He's back out on track. Just some superficial damage to the front end there. Maybe some other stuff happening, but Varun Nambier, ever so close to Mark Foley, 4/10 separation from these drivers. And can Austin and Chris make up those spots again? Who's to say? Elliot Burton is 12 seconds away from Varun Nambier. Austin McGill is 4.3 seconds back. He can see what's in front of him. P6. This may be it. Angel went into the pits to probably repair Foley here. Marshall Scary still trying to do something. Awfully close. So is Alex Zier, but no change in the order from the top 3 of these drivers. Pull it back. The man who is by himself. 15-second gap to Nick Mazza. is in second with a 6-second gap to uh, Andrew Korostecki now. And Connor Smith in fourth, who's got Peter Flanner in his sights. A battle with Trey Mistak, I guess, didn't end up well for Trey because he is still in sixth. And the dentist has caught up to Connor Smith. And it looks like he's going to get him here in this stadium section. Possibly. They're still side by side. Not obliged to give him... Oh. That was... I don't know what to say there. Let's take a look. We'll go helicopter cam. It looked like he was like, yeah, the crossover. Yeah, I mean... He would have been safer if he stayed further left, and he wouldn't have created the contact, but... I don't think they were, I don't think, I'm not sure on this one. I don't know, I gave him, corrected him again. I don't know. If anyone is in chat that would have a better opinion on that. I don't have one. I just don't know if how that all plays out. It looked like there wasn't the room, but I'd be wrong. All right, so let's take a look here at what happened at the start. No, it was... That wasn't it. Alright, well, I can't find it. Let's take a look at Chris Lambeth here. That is Mark Foley that he got in contact with. Another situation where it'd been safer if he went more to the left, but I don't know. That is Mark Foley and him creating contact. And Craig Reese, who spun that one earlier, and then Cody Baldwin. That is just a nasty one, but that was early. Lee Winters also went... This one's kind of bizarre. I'm not sure what happened here. Upper cam of this. Whoa, he was trying to avoid hitting somebody. Kyle Curtis. Oh, he just spun. Yeah, and then Austin McGill. Bam! Hip check. Not even a hip check, a rear check, but that one, I think, is the most obvious one we'll get, where it's... This is an incident, if you will. Trying to make a move here on Tom Smith. Boom! And then further up, we got on lap 3, Kyle Curtis again. What happened to him? Oh, he just a little bit of a spin. Tyler Bramble. Kind of bit of a whiffle there. And Craig Reese. This is the one that got Craig Reese. Nope, not the one. Adam McNeil gets a bump from Tom Smith, I believe. That maybe that was a little bit of net code. But I think that's all of them. Kyle Curtis doesn't have a rear wing anymore. What the league's all about. No downforce. That's going to send him into a spin and lose the front end. Yeah, that'll definitely do it. That meatballed him as well. So, Boris Holland, who got our first dentistry lesson of the day. And that is... I think Connor Smith that gave him the gave him a check, and that was Angel Vanilla Soto when he spun on lap 11. Connor Smith, it's that left rear. It's Andrew Korostecki also spins. Oh, parking it. I think he's having internet issues, internet connectivity issues. Kyle Curtis now back almost to live on lap. Driving slowly, but then he gets a meatball. Oh no, he cleared his meatball flag. Never mind. And we're back to live. Austin McGill. This driver is got it dialed in. He's half a second off of Elliott Burton. It was a 0.3 second gap earlier in the race. Now on lap 16 with 20 to go. Doing pretty strong. Now down only 6 positions from where he qualified. He's second in the championship. Chris Chitterling, first in the championship, and leading right now. Who benefited most from Austin McGill getting a hip check? That was from his championship rival. As he makes a move here on Elliott Burton in the stadium section, and they're going to have to go too wide through this. That really slowed him down, himself down. And really wanted to make that move work, but it actually just slowed him a bit down. He lost Andrew Gorstecki, putting us at 5 LMP3 drivers on the grid. And those are shown on the scoreboard. Leaderboard, I mean. Really wanted to make that work, but I think the door was kind of closed there. Elliott Burton making sure to take up that spot. Look at the peak, but not really going to do it. Definitely not through here, I don't think. On board with Austin McGill. Carrying a lot of speed right now, and it's really caught up to Elliott Burton through that section, through the S's. And if there's any difference in pace, I think it's right there, as he seemed to have a little bit more and was slowing. It's definitely not going to make a move right there, but he is going to go side by side through the stadium section, and now we got ourselves maybe another chance through this, and definitely not right there. They're getting really wobbly, and Austin McGill flashes Elliott Burton for reasons not known. But he is closer than he was on the last lap to make a move down into turn 1 if he ends up doing so. And he opens up from being behind the draft, and now he's going to try to make a move here into turn 1. And they gave themselves some room. Elliott Burton has it still covered off. Chris Lambeth joining the fight. Boris Holland awfully close here to William Irby. A lot closer down the start straight, I think. That's why I was alerted to it. And they're letting the race leader, Zach Ebe, on by. There's only Brandon Renfro. I'm surprised he hasn't been able to get by. And now Chris Lambeth has just lagged behind a bit from Austin McGill. over to our race leader, who's 2.6 seconds up on Marshall Scarry in second. But there's a little conga line behind him. That's Alex Zier, Mark Foley, and Varun Nambier. 1, 2, 3, 4, all in a line as they catch Kyle Curtis. The race leader's catching Kyle Curtis, who's in 17th. This is as close as it gets. Back over to Elliott Burton and Austin McGill. The dance for P6 is been happening for a couple of laps here, and is it finally going to go in the hands of Austin McGill? No, he's got to go side by side with Elliott Burton, but he does have that line on the inside for the next corner, and he does get ahead. Crucially, makes that move happen. Forrest Holland also makes that move well into turn one. Got it before the braking zone and is now ahead of William Irby. Look at the squirrely nature of Elliott Burton right there. I think that was squirrely because Chris Lambeth is getting on through, but may not have it. Going into the S's, it's gonna Elliott Burton's gonna hold on to it. It looked like he did have a bit of a unsettled rear because he was not pulling onto the throttle there so easily, and Adam McNeil just giving clear way for these drivers, as you should when you're lap traffic, but good on him for doing that. And Brandon Renfro taking a look here at Chris Lambert trying to make a move. And now the crucial thing here, Varun Nambier's in the pits. There's going to be a spot gained for all these drivers. But this could be... Alright, so Varun Nambier exits. Cody Baldwin's across the line. Forrest Holland's getting close. But Varun is on the exit. And Forrest is not going to be close enough. They're going to be going back to... So he only went down to P10 from P5. So pretty good for himself there. Austin McGill has to find chunks of time faster than the drivers ahead of him. At the moment, he was slightly slower than Mark Foley. That being said, this is going to be an insane feat. He's now down only 4 positions from where he started this race. He won, and all 4 drivers are a full 19 seconds ahead. Can't get bogged down by lap traffic. He found 4.3 seconds to attack on Elliott Burton, and now he's got almost a 2-second lead on Elliott Burton, 1.8 at the moment. We should see something happen before the race ends. Something. Even after pitting, we should see some change. Alex Zier goes into the pits. Marshall Scarry stays out. Mark Foley gains a spot for that one. Chris Cheerling just hanging out in front. No issues for him. Peter Flanner pit on lap 13 for 32 seconds. If that's all he needs at the end of this race, maybe this might be a decent run for him. Connor Smith is in 4th. Trey Mistack is in... Alex Sear now losing a couple more spots to the drivers that have not pit just yet. Connor Smith in 4th. The LMP3 class. Trey Mistack in 3rd. Up 4 from where he started. Nick Mazza in 2nd. How big is that gap? 15. It says 15 seconds, but I think it's 13. It's 13 seconds technically, but the relative, I think, is not quite showing it correctly. But there's Zach. It's saying 16.4, but the leaderboard is... I just don't think it's being updated that well. Well, all right. So Angel Manila Soto, Kyle Curtis, and Tyler Bramble have all called it quits. 16th, 17th, and 18th in class. But in the overall, they're 21st, 22nd, 23rd. They're ahead of the two LMP3s because they quit prior to that. Elliot Burton now has to worry about Brandon Renfro and Chris Lambeth, who have caught up. Let's see. Crucially, Austin McGill on that last left at a 150.2. But so did Mark Foley. And the amount that was chunked away is almost negligible. I don't think that Austin McGill is going to pull off any feats here. 20 seconds difference. It just doesn't seem like that's going to be possible. Trey Mistak came out and is behind Peter Flanner. This is a battle for position. He did a 29-3 to a 32-1. And that still got Peter Flanner ahead of Trey Mistak. So, this battle could go on. Oh, Chris Lambeth has gotten ahead. How did it happen? Oh, first section here. Gets it done. And crucially stays ahead. Elliot Burton. Now Brandon Renfro is the driver that may be able... Oof. They may, but just lost a full second there. Elliot Burton. And while he did make the pass, goes into pit. So, good on him. Take a look here at Varun Nambiar, who's definitely going to make this happen already. He was ahead of Chris Lambeth before the pits, before his pit stop. P5 going to gain a spot. Honor Smith is in the pits, and Ray Mistek and Peter Flanner both got ahead, and should be done. He's still up on the jacks. 30. Ooh. I can see why why he's now been passed by both. 41-5 for Connor Smith. Peter Flanner and Trey Mistek both gaining on that one, now in third and fourth. And now I guess we'll wait to see what happens for Nick Mazza and Zach Evet. But both not pit just yet. Been a while since we've looked at the dentistry category. Take a look at these two and see whether or not Trey can make a move here on Peter Flanner. I think Peter might be pulling slightly away. And McNeil letting these drivers by as Cody Baldwin has entered the pits. William Irby stays out. And this driver hasn't pit just yet, but he's got some front right damage. Let's see here, front. You can't even see it from that angle. There it is. You can clearly see that front right has some it's got some damage. And no one could wonder as to why or where it might have happened. I think Austin McGill might know. And the dentistry's back at it. 3/10, 2/10. Trey Mistak locking up, I think, slightly, because he definitely had the inside line to make the move, but then backed out slightly. I think he was on board with Trey Mistak and looking at the rear end of the dentist, Peter Flanner. No change in the order. We're going to go over to Austin McGill here. Who did make a pass on Mark Foley. And it's because Mark did a 33.8. He's out again. Austin McGill has yet to pit, so that's the only difference of why that's happening there. Still, these two dentists are at it. Peter Flanner keeping crucially ahead here. Trey Mistak. And already lost 1.2, 1.1. And the pass on Austin McGill. If this was to stop the count now, it wouldn't be such a bad thing here for Austin McGill. But he's only 12.8 seconds ahead of Mark Foley, which means he hasn't really gained anything since he passed Elliot Burton. Forrest Holland will get by. 26-second gap. I'm going to want to say it's going to be a battle right back with Elliot Burton. Cody Baldwin's out. What? And it's in 8th. Elliot Burton in 9th. Chris Chitterling and Marshall Scary exit the pits at the same time, and Marshall Scary's ahead. Mark Foley is now going to pass Austin McGill here, sitting in the pits. It shouldn't take him more than a couple more seconds. Varun Nambiar gets on by. Forrest Holland is back in the pits. Oh, no, never went into the pits. So he's good. It's not Forrest Holland he has to worry about. It's Chris Lambeth, who pit on lap 20. And there is a significant gap. That gap is 8 seconds. And Cody Baldwin's going to get another spot here. And possibly Elliot Burton. Yep. Nick Mazza is in the pits. Peter Flanner is not close. Okay, so Nick Mazza's exiting, and he's got a 20-second gap to Peter Flanner's in second and third. So Zach pulls off a consistent scenario there for himself. 18-second lead, almost 19 seconds. Chris Chitterling and Marshall Scary battling for P1 at the moment. Marshall Scary did a 32.1 and Chris Chitterling did a 36.4. just as a comparison, Varun Nambier did that on lap 17. Mark Foley on lap 22, 33.8. So I think Chris Chitterling's fuel strategy was... I mean, now he's going to have a lot, I think. I think that's the only difference. Now we have a battle for the lead in the GT4 class, once again. That little pit stop strategy kind of hurt his chances here. If he was even 2 seconds quicker, or even a second quicker, he would be in the lead right now. He just did a 35.4 instead of a 36. That's why he's right where he is. Mark Foley, sitting comfortably in P3 at the moment. He did get Varun Nambier. He's behind him by 8 seconds. Actually, not 8 seconds, but there's a gap between the two of them. It's 2.8 seconds. So, pretty significant. Just has to keep it clean. Austin McGill, however, that gap is actually kind of close. See in the stadium section how close these two are getting for the battle lead. Austin McGill has it down to 13.4 seconds. So he hasn't fully lost hope. If he continues to push like this with the amount of laps remaining, there's a solid chance he at least clings P4 from Varun Nambier. We'll see based on their next lap. Austin McGill is quicker than Varun Nambier. You can see Varun Nambier's on the relative. He did that 150.329, and Austin McGill did a 150.264. It's marginal, but even a 10th ounce, and it's going to help. He's just got to continue being that consistent, and he might chip away, I should say, at the Varun Nambier's pace, I guess. He also doesn't have the benefit of a draft right now. And we're going to have to pull away because Trey Misek is now right back on the heels of Peter Flanner here. I don't even think we've seen any passing in the LMP3 class. I think we've seen mistakes that allow for drivers to make moves. We saw Craig Reese spin, which gave these two positions, these guys, both positions. Andrew Korostecki spun, ultimately left. So that's another driver that neither one of them had a pass outright on track. Maybe it's very difficult to pass for the LMP3 cars, but for the GT4s, they're making it work. It's solid, because they both passed William Irby right there. And now we're going to go over to Rich Chitterling, who is a lot closer than closer to Marshall Scari than Trey Misek is to Peter Flan at the moment. Only two drivers in the LMP3 class that are kind of close together. With 6 laps to go, is this going to be the move? I think we've seen pretty cool races, like I think Daniel Ricciardo made a move right there. Section. That was like still with Red Bull. No, I would have been wrong. It was McLaren. Anyway, Chris Chitterling now holding the race lead for the GT4 class. And he's got to give himself a buffer from Marshall Scar here, or else Marshall's just going to keep on the attack at a half a second, which he'll get back and he's down the start straight. Yeah, I think a lot of people are having fun. Okay. I don't know about the LMP3s. Briefly looking at them again. We went down from 11 to 7 and down to 5 as Ange Korstek and Craig Reese are out of this race. But that is you're not mistaken, that is a 20-second gap from Zach Hebert to Nick Mazza, who's in second. Peter Flanner is in third. He's got a big 19-second gap to Nick Mazza. Trey Mistak is close. He's half a second off, 0.6 off of Peter Flanner. They're third and fourth. And then Connor Smith is a full 51 seconds back on Trey Mistak. Is IncaSalsa.com reigning champ? Salsa Racing. Well, since I've had to say that name. It's in the WEC one, right? Or what they call it now, WEC? Open Wing Endurance Championship. Oof. I don't know about Chris there, but he did look a little out of sorts. And he's might get past here. Peter Flanner. We finally see an LMP pass on track, and it does happen. There's Trey Mistak making the move. Let's take a look here. All right. Well, for those who aren't on the ad break, and those watching on YouTube, Austin McGill, who's in 5th position, has a black flag. And Chris Lambeth is hopping on out. And he... Oh, no. Austin McGill left. Well, when it rains, it pours, because not only did Austin McGill get hit on the formation lap by Chris Chitterling, goes into the pits at the start of the race, or before the race starts, exits the pits, claws up to P11 from being P last. Him and Chris Lambeth gets hit on turn 4 of the opening lap, puts Chris Lambeth down a bunch. Both of those drivers basically battling through all the other drivers around them. And you know, as the story goes, he's doing fine. He gets hit by another driver in the rear for a second time, and then goes down the order, claws back all the spots, now is ahead, pushes ahead, was in P5, basically clawed back as many as he possibly could without being able to catch Varun Nambier. Maybe he would have caught him. It was a 12-second difference. But then after that, he gets hit with a black flag, and all of his hopes probably sank right there and said, it's no point. I mean, he would have probably only gone down 2 or 3 spots. Chris Lambert would have been one of them. but I can see why that would be a race-ending scenario after having cobbled up 2 recovery drives up into the top 10 spots. That's really unfortunate, and there's Marshall Scary losing a little bit of time, and we will definitely see that be it for the Q1 and 2 in the GT4 category. But now we got this. Great Mistake and Peter Flanner still separated by so little. 7/10. It was very close until the pit stops, I would say. The pit stops really shook up the order, and on the GT4s that were all really well together. There's 18 drivers that entered this race, and there's only 13 drivers. Or sorry, there's 18 GT4s that entered this race, and only 13 of them are still here. That's unfortunate. With the LMP3s, 7 entered, 5 are still here. One's a lap down, I think. Yeah. No? No, he's not. No, he's not. Connor Smith is not a lap down. He has been lapped. Wait. Shows that Zach is ahead of him. But he did get lapped, actually, yeah. Never mind. What can I say? Zach, who was sitting 7th in the championship, is going to inherit a boatload of points here, finishing 1st. And, yeah, I mean, he qualified 1st, and I don't think he led practice, but he was up there. And now, yeah, it's going to be a big shift in the points. If Simmons isn't here. Nick Mazza finishing 2nd and finish 1st in the first race would be a massive improvement for him because, or not a massive improvement, but it'll be a massive boost for him because that's only 1 position lost. So finishing 1st, then 2nd in the 2nd round would go a long way for him in this title fight. Alvarez and Forrest Holland getting pretty close here for P8. Zach has 2 laps to go. Oh, Marshall Scary is just spun. Let's take a look at this scene. Wow, he carried way too much. I'm not even sure what I saw there. Take a look. Oh. That's unfortunate. He's back out there. He only lost 2 spots. Varun Nambi or Mark Foley are the only ones that got past him. Peter Flander down into turn 1. Gets Trey Mistack with 2 laps to go. Might see another shot at that. Zach Alvarez. Forrest Holland trying to keep it ahead of Alvarez. Now these two are going to go side by side down in the penultimate corner. And they're going to fight this to the end. We got the white flag for Zach here. And these guys as well. As he passes on by, Alvarez takes the spot from Forrest Holland, but maybe he has it, maybe he doesn't. We're going to take a look down into turn 1, and it looks like he's going to have it. No. Forrest Holland might be... Oh, no, it's back over to Alvarez. It's another chance for Peter Flanner and Trey Mistack here, as they were also squabbling while that one was going down. Forrest Holland still trying to make a move here. Maybe sends it a little bit here. No. Gonna have to follow in suit. As long as Alex can keep this tight. might see maybe a pass, but it doesn't happen. Okay, so Trey Misak is opting for the outside line. Is Peter's defending into turn 1. And it's going deep. They're going to have to go side by side, and he's got to come on the track there. But nope, it's back over. No, it's not done, as Trey's holding his foot in, and Peter Flanner is going to really fight for this one. Next corner is a left-hander, and it's going to possibly go to Trey, but no. Peter Flanner on the outside, now has the inside line. Switch back over with Trey Misak, who's going to take that inside line, and he's going to hold on to it. Now they're going to really put the power down, and it's still down to anybody. But nope, Peter Flanner gets it ahead of the S's, and now sticks it ahead of the S's. Little wiggle there for Trey Misak, and Peter Flanner has cemented this for now. Zach Hebert has just hit the wall or something. He's lost all of his time in the final section. And Nick Mazza wins this race. What? Nick Mazza across the line. Zach Hebert into second. Peter Flanner with a few corners to go. No, Trey Misak's 4.1 seconds back. What happened there? Peter Flanner into third. Trey Misak into fourth. Connor Smith already passed. Chris Chitterling, with just a little bit further to go, is going to win for the GT4. Wow. Mark Foley into second. Varun Nambier into third. Marshall Scary into fourth. Chris Lambeth now into fifth with a big gap here. We have Tom Smith, who finished across the line in 11th, and every other driver still out there. I think some of them, it doesn't show that they finished. It shows that they stopped driving, but we might see a change in the order right now. Chris Lambeth is officially 6th. Cody Baldwin is going to be officially... No, Chris Lambeth is officially 5th. Cody Baldwin's going to be 6th. Is he across the line? Does he have enough? It looks like he's out of fuel. He just makes it across. Elliot Burton into 7. Adam McNeil still has a little bit ways to go. But we have drivers that did not finish technically. William Irby into 8. Alex Zier into 9. Forrest Holland into 10. It doesn't say they finished, though. That's the odd part out. Adam McNeil is on an out lap. He must have not finished it all, but he's going to finish 12th. Lee Winters, 13. Austin McGill, 14. Brandon Renfro, 15. Angel Bonello Soto, 16. Kyle Curtis, 17. And Tyler Bramble, 18. And that's it. I don't know what to say. This is what happened with Zach. Oh, he had a massive crash. Massive crash. On the last lap with only a little bit ways to go. That's why he was able to get caught out there. Wow. That is how it ended. And we will go to the results, which are finished. The ones that I thought were a little odd were the Forrest Holland one, but so we have Cody Baldwin 6, Elliot Burton 7, Alex Zier 8, Forrest Holland 8, 9, William Irby 10, Tom Smith 11, Adam McNeil 12, Lee Winters 13, Austin McGill 14, Brandon Renfro 15. So it looks like it caught everybody just right. Andrew Korsecki in 6th and Craig Reese in 7 in the class. That's it, folks. That is the race, and those are the results. Wow. What a odd way for this one to end. Thank you for joining me, everybody. ARCA Oval Racing isn't going to be ovals tomorrow, but it will be Sonoma. So ARCA Sonoma, the NASCAR layout for that. So you can join us for that one. V-Rays on Thursdays. F4 Series is on Fridays. And as always, we'll see you back on the GT3 Sprint Championship on Sundays.